Hi, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. Now, this week I want to talk to you about mass consciousness or the collective unconscious. So, what is that? Well, to me, it's like patterns of energies of all types, like emotional energies, mental energies, meaning beliefs and things like that, and energetic types of patterns and blueprints, even spiritual dimensional ones, even relational ones that kind of like are in the background that permeate the entire world. And if you are not a conscious soul, you might get caught up or swept up in those patterns that are subconscious, running the background, but sometimes not only run our lives, it can sometimes ruin our lives. So what do I mean by that? Well, say you are having a conflict with a loved one, a family member, something like that. What happens is that if there are energies that are in this pattern of the collective unconscious related to those types of relationships, whether it be, I don't know, my wife is always controlling, men are not trustworthy, all sorts of patterns that are there, or men are perpetrators, or those kinds of patterns. Now I'm just talking about beliefs, but there are energetic and emotional patterns related to that, like a collective sadness, a collective, like for example in the United States, I talked about in a Facebook Live video that there was a collective unconscious sadness and fear around electing a president for the United States that the populace would love, because the last times, multiple times, that they did that, where they elected a president that they loved, that was moral, that they really were inspired by, that person got assassinated and killed, and that was like, like this horrible, horrible pain. And so America had this horrible mark of pain from their heart, choosing someone. So choosing someone from their heart is what I meant to say. So that collective unconscious energy can linger long after the event and affect people that are not conscious. Conscious meaning that they're aware of who they are, their connection to source, what they're here for, their purpose, and they are regularly connecting to their inner being, their inner guidance system. So when you're in some sort of conflict, discomfort, emotional discomfort, tap into yourself, your being self, and ask, hey, is what I'm feeling just all mine, or is part of this the collective unconscious or mass consciousness? Because a lot of times we will resonate with aspects of mass consciousness based on whatever's going on in our lives, even if we try to be conscious, But just asking that question sometimes is enough to release you of those negative energetic patterns that no longer serve you. Of course, if you know divine muscle testing and Topican healing, you can just test for that, right? How much of this emotional turmoil and feelings that I'm going through right now are due to mass consciousness or resonance with mass consciousness, and what percentage is truly just mine or my individuated selves. So you would get a percentage. You might get 70% is mass consciousness, 30% is your stuff. You just happen to resonate with that. And then the cool thing with Topican healing is then you can just release and remove that resonance, so you don't have to tap into that pattern any longer. Now, so long as there are unconscious people in the world, there are going to be unconscious patterns, because they can continue generating them. And we don't, people have free will, and so we can't necessarily, stop them from having thoughts or beliefs or whatever, free will, right? So it's your responsibility as a conscious person who wants to live up to their potential to, first of all, forgive yourself if you tap into the mass consciousness, but then, be conscious to release it and say, hey, that's not mine. And you can even send healing towards that pattern from mass consciousness, especially if you do Topican healing. You can send, and you practice in that, you can send mass healing, to all of mass consciousness on a particular pattern or blueprint, which is super, super powerful. And that's why with Topican healing, we regularly move, change, storms, hurricanes. It's so funny because I was I'm in San Diego right now for a conference, and on the plane ride here, it was interesting because first of all, my second flight got delayed, and I already did traffic magic and travel magic. And what was interesting was I mentioned to my husband, oh, my what do you call that? The time between flights. I'm losing my English. Anyway, so that time to board the next plane was a little narrow. Like it was over an hour, but I prefer a little longer, so I have some time to stretch and eat and stuff like that. Well, then the plane got delayed for about 45 minutes, so I had plenty of time to eat a beautiful, wonderful meal at a French restaurant in the airport. But then, we got on this plane, and partway through it, how they turn the seatbelt sign on when there's turbulence and all that kind of stuff, right? So, and they didn't have the seatbelt sign off for that long to me. So partway through, they're like, folks, we need the flight attendants, in their jump seats. We need everyone in their seat. We're gonna have some turbulence, and the pilot was pretty adamant, like this needs to happen now, kind of thing, because people were milling about and going to the bathroom, and he was like, no, you got to get in your seats, right? And so, so what I do is I'm in the aisle seat, and I'm like, we don't need the turbulence, thank you, And it's not like I'm showing off like that kind of thing. It's like nobody knows what I'm doing. And I thought, well, if it's for the highest, greatest good for us to have turbulence, we'll have turbulence. What the heck? Okay, fine, it'll be fun. But it's funny because I'm like, angels, if you could just turn off the turbulence, that'd be great. Because there's other people that might be scared. Children were on board, they might be scared. So I thought, let's, it's not necessary, let's go ahead and race it. And so we went through this supposedly turbulent area. Nothing, like no turbulence, nothing. And I think people must have thought the pilot was a little nuts because they're like, why do we have our seatbelts on, But I'm like, thank you. But these really, on the fly, kinds of things are so exciting and so wonderful to do. And you can do that, when you just tap in and go, hey, maybe this isn't my stuff. And even if you're feeling super, super uncomfortable, if you have the wherewithal to ask the question, and like I said, if you have the skill set to test and release it, and then do a mass healing, which would be really awesome, right, for the benefit of others, then you don't have to suffer that long. We're human, so we are going to have emotions, but we don't have to continue, feeling a lot of negative emotions and get tossed up in the waves of that. So that's my message for this week. So a couple of announcements. Number one, on Monday's show is going to be a live show with Clint Ober. I've been wanting to interview Clint for quite some time. He is the CEO of earthing.com and the star of multiple earthing grounded movies. And I've interviewed Dr. Laura Conover before about the earthing phenomenon. But I really wanted to get Clint on the show because his story is super, super interesting. And in fact, I do not travel without one of Clint's, tools, an earthing sheet or an earthing grounding mat when I'm traveling, and of course when I have a grounding port to plug it into. If I'm on a campsite somewhere, I'm literally earth, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm super excited to finally get a chance, an opportunity to interview him Monday. And the cool thing is they gave us a free showing screening of the newest grounding movie, earthing movie. So if you are on my mailing list, you will be able to get the link and the password so you can see this movie for free. It's pretty profound. I think anyone who's at all interested in natural healing and really wants to tap into a literally almost free way, it's free if you just go outside and put your feet on the ground, you know what I mean, of healing and decreasing your cortisol levels and your stress levels, especially you sensitive souls who just get, with EMF and all the frequencies. This is a wonderful way of healing yourself. So listen to that show Monday. If you're on my mailing list at KarenCan.com, we will send you the exact link for that show. Second announcement is that it is coming pretty darn close to the start of the Light Warrior Training Camp. Yay! At Omega Institute. I'm super excited about that. It's going to be wonderful. In fact, I have to take my own advice. So I'm, like I said, we're going to be teaching weather magic, travel magic, traffic magic. We're going to be teaching transformational telepathy that I definitely had great use for this week. So if you're someone who is sick and tired of having life happen to you, and you know your sensitivity is some sort of gift, whether that be clairaudience, clairvoyance, and most of you clairsentience, and you want to get a handle on that gift, and you want to learn how to do muscle testing, like divine muscle testing, we're going to show you that in this event. So to learn more, you go to lightwarriortrainingcamp.com, and then there's a link there that you can register at Omega. There are very limited spots left for Omega, so please register now if you are at all interested. This is a rare opportunity to work with me personally, in person, so I don't know whether I'll be doing this again at Omega. So if you are at all interested, I think it's a wonderful investment for you to come, meet me, let's do some work together, let's teach you these skills so you can go out into the world and be your best you. Go to good. Yes, it's good, right? Okay, so until next time, lots of love. I will talk to you next week. Bye for now.